morning, everybody. It is the 14th. Christmas is just right around the corner, and we are getting a green Christmas. Sometimes it's like a 50-50, especially in crypto, that December ends up being a green month versus a red month. But let's first start off with, let's say, the S&P 500. We're getting some rejection to the all-time high, right? We're getting a little bit of a pullback on the weekly, and that's okay. That's okay. It might need to come back down here just a bit before we break through this level and we see stocks going higher and higher. I do think that it is going to happen, especially throughout next year. I think we're going to get in that scenario where basically everyone is making money. You can just throw money at anything, whether it's a meme coin, Pepe, or whatever, Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, and same thing with stocks, GameStop, AMC, whatever it is that you buy, you're going to feel like a genius because you can start making money because everything is in that uptrend. This is the S&P 500, which I like to use just to signify where's the direction going, where's the ultimate direction going of the market. And we can clearly see that it is going up. It has been going up since October of last year. Man, there were some big guys out there that were calling for, oh, we're going to break much below 35. And I'm like, I see this crazy wick, this spinning top type candle here, and I'm like, no, this to me looks like the bottom. And so I've been dollar cost averaging into stocks and everything ever since. Same thing with crypto. To me, we could see some little bit of volatility because look at how many candles we have here, right? We've got a candle of an engulfing candle, and then we have 3 white soldiers, and which is a pretty bullish continuation, but it's a little extended right now. So on the daily, we've gapped higher. Everything is higher here. Honestly, I want to look at Coinbase because Coinbase, sorry, I didn't already have this on the fly, but I just wanted to show you. We just hit a new 52-week high, a yearly high, right? And as soon as we did, we are retracing right now. But this guy is a good indication of crypto as well, just because of the sheer fact that it is on the New York Stock Exchange. They're more regulated. Just like the links I have down below for Biget and Biget, they are no longer allowing guys in the United States to deposit money. It's a little bummer that is where crypto is coming with regulation. However, with more regulation, there's more money. And I am on the sheer side of, if people want to make money, want to make life-changing money, you got to get into assets that nobody wants to get into at the time, and then you wait for big money to follow, okay? Whether that's real estate or anything. And it's not up to the retail trader to push a market up. You got to have institutional investors come in and throw big money. My $10,000 or $100,000, or if you're a somewhat of a small whale, $250,000 is not going to fluctuate the market. We need billions of dollars to come in, and that's the same thing with the ETF for crypto. Ethereum is a big one, and also Bitcoin. Those spot ETFs are huge because I don't know if you guys understand the difference between just a futures. It's like an option contract with futures, With the spot, they actually have to own the asset. They can't just borrow against it. Just like if you're a Robinhood trader or anything and you want to trade options, you can have naked puts and rather than have covered calls or anything. You don't have to own that many. You can control a large portion by not owning any of it. And that's what the spot ETF is enabling people to do. But in order for that to happen, there has to be lots of regulation coming into the market. And part of it is KYC, know your customer, right? The biggest argument I have with people that argue about, oh, Bitcoin is not backed by anything. Well, I'm like, okay, well, what is your US dollar backed by? And without a doubt, instantly comes, well, the government. I'm like, no, it's backed by faith. It's backed by faith that the government will bail out. That's why banks have been around for so long, and the real estate bubble, all the crisis. The reason why they were able to get bailed out was they weren't really worried about the guys that their mortgages were going out. The government just came in and started giving a bunch of money to the banks for giving them of their bad decisions. And yeah, there's probably going to be some of that in crypto for sure when it comes to regulation. Okay. Comment here, Bobby is saying, talking about crypto and super. Let's talk about our bags and how Barsha needs to give Jed a proper walk on the 453. Yeah. I get it, dude. On my other channel, we'll talk about some Supercross for sure, brother. I do think the Lawrence brothers are going to do really well here. But here, let me get back to what I'm talking about without digressing. So this is good for Coinbase, but we can see this happening, that there is a small break happening. Yes, you just have to draw simple lines. Here's a small break, okay? If I see anything else going on with Coinbase on the daily has got a decent trend line popping up. And now we're in a range for Coinbase, and that range is typically a $20 range where it could still be healthy and bounce back to here before going back up. This is good. Okay, so I've talked about the stocks and that. What do we want to talk about? Because basically, Jerome Powell, he gave the green light by saying that, no, we're not going to raise interest rates. And we're probably going to end up cutting a good portion of rates come next year. That was a green light. So if you've paid attention to my channel, you probably are in the green and you've probably made money, especially on crypto. So not to toot my own horn, but I know there's a lot of freaking people on Twitter and a lot of people that have a lot of clout that were calling for this $38,000 range before we got another little leg up. But I want you to look at this wedge pattern here, okay? We're just in this range and we have bounced off of it. Boom, boom, boom. And yesterday, because of the meeting, we literally, what was the bull did we get? We got an 8% rise just out of yesterday from simple, the feds are not raising interest rates. And so I could still see that goal of going back to a 48,000. But there is one thing that I am a little concerned at, that here, I will draw something. And we've got another wedge going on here. And I'm going to change this. We'll change this to white so that you can see it. But we are now in one of these guys. When you have these kind of triangles, it doesn't really indicate where we could be going. We could easily be going down to here, or we could easily be going up to here to retest the new highs. I'm betting that we're testing the new highs, that we're going to get the breakout, but we will see, right? You can see right now that we did not break above. And Ethereum has been having the same deal. They almost look identical. You can almost trade Ethereum and Bitcoin the same, right? Right now, we are getting a spinning top, which is somewhat of a reversal. So I'm not too excited to see that. But we've got about 8 hours before this candle closes. But we do have some support right around the... You can see how we had another liquidation candle overnight. And if I'm being honest here, I had a trade in from... last night. Now, was it last night? Yeah, I did have it last night, and it was in the green. So I moved it up to break even, so I wouldn't lose any cash. And sure enough, it got liquidated, and I was happy that I did have that stop, because I would have lost quite a bit more money. And I usually try not to hold anything overnight, because for some reason, Bitcoin in crypto likes to just go ham at 2, 3 a.m. And it's really, really annoying to get notifications at 2, 3 a.m. and be kind of in a panic because, you know, the trade you have is going completely sideways. So it's kind of one of my rules. If I'm in profit, I move it to break even so I can sleep that night, right? And it seems almost without a doubt that I get stopped out the majority of the time. So really try not to hold stuff overnight because it's just a bummer. If I'm in a good enough position to where I can move that stop, I try to take some off the table too, because it's not actually your money unless you take it off the table. It's like going to Vegas, right? If you got a big old pile of chips, but you don't cash them out, but you leave them there, it's not really your money yet. So you got to wait. You got to actually take them out. I'm never using these again. So you pocket some stuff while you're ahead. And that's just, it's a hard methodology for people to understand, and that's really the biggest thing. Is sometimes it's not hard to make money, it's hard to keep money, right? But when it comes to Ethereum, I do see us popping back up to that 2400 at least. There is some good resistance going in there right now for here, let's get rid of the 4 hour. You could see we already this is saucy. Now that I'm looking at this, okay. So you need to always have a retest, okay? So on this guy, we've got a rising wedge, and these usually go bullish. Typically, when you have a bearish, it's declining. So here, I'll just draw something on here. So this is a declining wedge, and it's because price cannot bang. And why is it bearish? Well, because you are having a lower high every time. Yeah, there's a level of resistance, there's a level of support, but because of the lower highs every time, it is just a higher probability that the sucker is going to break down below. And it's like hammering down a front door. The more times you hit it, the greater the chance of it actually going through. But in this case, we have the rising wedge where it's the same thing, but it's opposite, because every time there's a low, okay, it's a higher low. Besides there, I kind of messed it up. I need to draw a little bit better so you can see it. And chances are it breaks up. But usually smart money, they don't get in right on the initial breakout, because it could be a false breakout, because half the time it comes back down to test. And if it can hold this level, then there's the real move, okay? And it's hard to do because it's hard to be patient. And if I'm being honest, like it's hard for me to be patient to do that too. But here's this big wedge, right? And we broke out, boom, but now we're retesting it. And now it's starting to get here. So we really need to not get rejected off of hitting the new yearly high of 24,407. This is really going to be the indication of whether or not we're going to see a new high before Christmas or not, is if we can get past this level. If we can't, well, there's a good chance that we are coming back down into this area. I don't suspect us getting back down to 1,500, but I would say that we would probably be seeing 2,000, okay? We probably would be seeing 2,000. So that's what I'm doing there. Let's look at gold. Look at gold. Gold is in the midst of doing the same thing that we were just going over, right? You've got the wedge. It's going higher. Boom. Being bounced. We'll see. Now it's just up to it to see if it's got any forward mo. But right there with the gap up here, that is looking good. We've got a gravestone candle on the daily, which usually that is a top indicator as far as a candle. Usually when you see these long wicks, just like this one, it's an indicator that something's going down. But we actually open higher, and we'll see if that ends up going false here. Let's look at silver, because silver is pretty close to gold. We're bouncing out here. I feel like missed the move. So we're still in this upward area. It's just trying to find breakthrough resistance. If I'm looking at the U.S. Treasury, this one is not looking good. The 10-year needs to get back into this range. If not, what would be the next level that I would say that it's being caught at? Well, pretty close to there. The next one would be right around the 3.4%. So we will look at that. But overall, right? And if you guys follow me on Instagram, you probably know that I shared some screenshots that I did purchase another half of a Bitcoin when everyone was screaming for 38,000. This is for my long-term stuff. I ended up purchasing one right around 40. was it 41.5, 41.8 is where I ended up purchasing it. And I just, dollar cost averaging, that's where I'm headed for that guy. I do believe that we are going to $250,000 by 2030. And so this is, lack of a better term, retirement type investing is what that is. But Bobby's asking me what my realistic, I guess don't have a whole lot in here, so I will answer one of the comments. My realistic price prediction on Bitcoin for this cycle. And truthfully, my realistic price prediction would be over 100,000 to 150, right? If we are getting in between those ranges, I will probably sell a little bit of my Bitcoin to hold on to it, but I am going to look for some top indicators. Okay, and what do I mean by top indicators? Well, here, let's just look. Where are some top indicators? Okay, so a double top, that is an indicator, right? Breaking down below. So here, let me just zoom in, and we can look at the cycles. Okay, so number one is on our new high, it's a spinning top. Okay, and then the next one, we've got a larger spinning top, but more noticeable is we've got a double top forming, right? So if that sucker breaks down, yeah, that is a big deal, okay? That is a giant price swing going there because there's such big peaks, okay? You're going from basically 70,000 to 40,000, but that's when you know shit's really going bad, okay? And truthfully, you could honestly have drawn this to be safer between the bottom, and that's the more accurate way of going about it. That could have saved you quite a bit of money, is leaving it here. So getting out at 58 when it hit 68, yeah, you could be wrong. But man, you could gotten way back in a lot lower, and that's the whole ideology for that stuff here. Let me look back on, we've got a head and shoulders, okay? So head and shoulders, again, at the very top here, if I'm zooming in, okay? Very top of the market back in 2021, right? We have a spinning top, and we have a left shoulder, head, right shoulder breakdown. Okay. And where was the top of the market in, that's 30. Where is, oh gosh, 2021, 19. Okay, the Biget's not showing that there. You know, I'll have to look at a different one when I'm not live here to show you more. But that's what we're looking for. So it wouldn't be just an arbitrary number to look for. It'd be looking for a sign to where prices is stalling out, But anyway,